Hey, awesome teens. Welcome to another episode of the Godward Teen Table, a podcast that provides a toolbox for life and daily living, filled with practical, real life issues and advice rooted in the Bible. So pull up a chair, grab a snack, and let's dive into this awesome journey together. At the Godward Teen Table, we are not just talking, we are creating a community that is all about lifting each other up and embracing the adventure of being a teenager, with faith, hope, love, and a whole lot of laughter. My name is Alisa Kaur and I'm your host. Do you know that beautiful feeling when you're with your closest friends? And that hurtful feeling when things go south? Today, we're going to be talking about friendship drama, peer pressure, and everything in between. And I have two lovely ladies with me today that are going to be joining in this fiery conversation. So I have with me Dami and I have Oriofe. Without further ado, let us get to know who these lovely ladies are. So, Dami, please let us meet.
I'm a writer, I'm a baker, and amongst other things that I do. So for now, I'm currently a writer, a content writer. So that's basically what I'm up to right now.
Very nice to meet you, Dami, and welcome to the God What's In podcast.
Thank you.
So, Oriofe, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. I'm really excited for this podcast today. Thank you, Alice, for having Dami and I as well.
Yes.
Like Dami, I'm a law graduate as well, also a writer. And we're Christians. I think it's important to emphasize that as well.
Yes,
So we're
yes.
like Jesus girls, and just waiting for for more, essentially. Yeah.
Mm. Welcome. We're really excited to have you here. And let's just go straight into the day. So, a quick check in. What does friendship mean to you in one word? Dami. One word.
It's good. Okay, it's going to be difficult to one word.
Just one word.
Just one word.
Not a sentence.
Commitment. I want to say love.
Ooh.
Commitment.
Ooh.
Okay, I like the sound of that. So, Orofe, in one word, what does friendship mean to you?
My word is actually very similar to Dami's. In one word, I'd say friendship for me is community.
Community.
Yeah.
That's deep. Okay, one last check-in question, and we dive straight into spilling teas. What color will your friends say you are?
Ooh.
Orofe, what color will your friends say you are?
To be honest, I'm not sure. I probably say blue. Maybe
Okay,
blue.
why blue?
Well, because I think we just even spoke about it a few minutes ago, how sometimes I could come off a bit as maybe more calm or sometimes even uninterested, just like just flowing like an ocean. Something like that. So I say blue.
Okay, Dami.
I think, I don't know, it depends. It actually depends. Sometimes I'm black and white.
Black and white,
like,
how?
I'm black and white sometimes because I might also, not have the energy for some things sometimes. However, most times I come off as the, Joseph, the
Coat of
Joseph's
many
coat of many
colors.
colors. Yes, a lot of times I come off as that. So yeah, I'll say coat of many colors.
I was going to say yellow for Dami.
Yeah, I would have said probably yellow.
Yeah, for the few times I've spent with you, you're that burst of energy.
Exactly.
sunshine.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. For me, I'll say my friends will say I'm probably purple because
Very
I think
elegant.
I'm steady, I'm steadfast, I'm steadfast, consistent, I'll say. Yeah, though there are times when you're all over the place with yellow and red,
Yeah.
and sometimes come as blue, but I think purple is that color for me. Anyway, now that we know our different colors, blue for Oriofe and multicolor for Dami.
Rainbow.
Yes.
Rainbow. Thank you.
Rainbow.
Thank you, Rainbow. Yeah. So while we, think about friendship, let's even ask this question: are friendships necessary? Like, is it necessary to have friends so that we don't go, we just go over and go over about something that is not really necessary? Are friendships necessary or okay?
Absolutely. I think, if we look at God creating man even from the beginning, and, he was saying, oh, it's not good for man to be alone. I tend to think, or in my own opinion, I think that not only did God mean that in the sense of like, marriage and having a helpmate, I think he also
Mm-hmm.
meant that community wise, having
Mm-hmm.
people there. There's so many verses in the Bible about friendships, about having a brother, having a sister. So they are
Mm-hmm.
most definitely, yes, very necessary.
Well, thank you. Dami?
And I think
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
as of life, every season
Mm-hmm.
community and we always need people to stand by us and help us through. So
Yeah.
yeah, friendships are very important. They're very vital. I think sometimes it could determine how long someone can live. It could,
You're
Mm,
absolutely right.
mm,
yes. If you don't have people around you, you just find yourself having to do everything alone. You eventually
yeah.
get
Mm-hmm.
worn out both physically and emotionally.
Yeah.
So yeah, friendships are essential, very vital.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Orelfe and Dami. Just thinking about how God made man, and if God said it is not good for man to be alone,
Mm,
like Orelfe established, and just looking at it from the scientific part of it, like I always say, um, true science corroborate the scriptures, right? So there are researches to show how that friendships can do in your life what exercise and diet can do. I
ooh,
mean, it is,
wow.
yeah, it's that it's that deep. It's
That's
that
interesting.
deep. Yeah. Yeah, it's that deep. And and I feel like that's why it's very necessary for us to speak about this, because because of a lot of hurt, a lot of things, people be like, I don't need friends, I'm okay on my own, I'm a one-man
Mm,
squad.
mhm,
I got my back, I love me,
Yeah.
yeah.
self-love, and all that. And you can you can easily tell that those things are from a place of hurt, and you can't even
Mm,
judge those people, or you know judge them or question their results, because you,
yeah.
you have not probably walked in their shoes
What
to know
issues?
why they came up with those resolutions. And also, we are establishing here that friendships are very, very necessary. And we're going to just dive into other aspects of friendships, and see how far we can go with a crazy friendship story. I think you just weave it in with this other question. So, have you
Okay.
ever experienced a friendship heartbreak?
Oh
You
dear. I that
you
means
know,
laughing because we both know I most definitely have. I most I
all
most
right.
definitely have. I was telling her once about this I think very early enough in life, like I think I was
Mm-hmm.
still in primary school. I think maybe that was probably my first encounter with like friendship heartbreak, but I didn't have like the words to actually like express it. It was just something that just, happened. So I had like two friends at the time that I thought were my best friends, because I was, the thought of friendship really excited me as a young person. So I think I was just very excited to like have two nice friends and whatnot. But I discovered like maybe months later, as children do, because we don't really pay much attention to stuff. But I discovered much later that apparently my so-called best friends were actually just best friends with themselves. I was just a random third party. There was this thing we used to do in school where we would do like it's very funny, but there's this thing we used to do where it's called a mental exercise, pretty much. So the teacher is rattling off a lot of questions and you have to answer it immediately, and the moment he stops, everybody has to like stop. So apparently my best friends were just using me for the mental exercise. So I was very useful in the morning because I was a little smart. So that was that was the friendship. So after that, we really were not friends per se, but it didn't matter to me because I thought, oh, these are my friends. We're all just trying to make it together and something. So I think that probably was probably like the first experience. So come
Mm-hmm.
secondary school, I didn't have time for friends. I was just focused. and up straight and everything. So I think the second most, probably most even impactful one was in uni. And it was really bad for me. It was very bad. I remember sharing some of it with Dami was livid when I told her, but some of these things when you have it with people, it's at the end of the day also still very much a personal journey. So your friend can't fight all your battles for you in that kind of situation. It's still something that you have to work out with yourself, work out with the other person, and also still work out with God. So yeah, I've had a friendship heartbreak. Did you ask how to navigate that as well?
Yes.
How to navigate that? To be honest, I think I'm still fairly just coming out of it. But I think one of the most important things I'd say is communication. One of the things that taught me was communication is extremely important in a friendship. Extremely important. And I think that's one of the things that has made my friendship with Dami thrive extremely well, because we talk almost like every day, and we talk just about everything and anything, and even down to the little things that bother us. So communication is important. I'm not saying that you necessarily have to talk with your friend every day, but I'm saying when you have hiccups in a friendship, it's important that you don't assume that the person knows what they have done. Just call them out on it. Speak to them about it. And I think even the Bible says something similar about if you have an issue with a person, call them. If they're not listening, take one or two other people to them, and then it lists off how to go about that. So I think communication is extremely important. That's one. Number two is also, as a person, also you also need to be self-introspective. For me, this happened much later in life, so I wasn't really paying attention to like personal development and all of those things. But when stuff like this happens, there's a tendency to retreat back into yourself, and then you begin to realize, oh, I'm not as perfect as I think I am.
Exactly.
I also have flaws. I also have things that I should work on. So there's that as well. Be introspective. And the third one, deep one, is also please pray. Pray to God, because God is very much interested in your friendships, and God would also lead you if you're obedient and willing to listen. God will lead you sometimes on how to even mend friendships and what to do, how to go about it, and all of that. And I think if there's a final one, I'd say just also pray about friendships in particular, because sometimes when you have friendship heartbreaks, you can never really tell unless you pay attention what God is trying to do, whether that person was even meant to be in your life in the first place, whether that person was just maybe even a distraction. So be sure to pray about the people that are in your life that you see or call friends in the first place. So I think, that's how I'd say you can navigate a friendship heartbreak, and talk to your other friends too, and tell them to pray with you, to help you up. And God will help you pretty much.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I think that even leads to the next question I have in mind.
Okay.
What causes friendship breakups? You said a couple of things, but I'd just like us to narrow in on that. What causes friendship breakups? What, in your opinion, in your experience, what really causes friends to break up? What causes friendships to break up?
I'd say the first one, given my own experience, I'd say a lack of communication. A lack of communication and assumption. There's nothing that kills friendships faster than assumption. So, for example, in my case, my friend did something that really hurt me, and I was really struggling with it, but I didn't communicate, not because I intended to be a mean person or I intended to be angry about it, but I was genuinely, in my own wisdom, trying to deal with it by myself. And I just thought, oh, you know what, it's fine. But communicating about even the slightest things that bother you would actually go a long way. And also realizing that you have to give grace to people. So there are things that sometimes you may have a friend where you share the same opinions or views on literally about 90% of issues, but there's still a 10%. And usually that's often where conflict comes in. So you cannot
Exactly.
assume that, okay, because we share 90% of opinions on certain issues, this 10% to my friend should also think the same way now, something like that.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
why it's important not to assume and actually hear your friend out. So I think those two are the major things that causes friend heartbreaks. I'd also say that, to be honest, some people can be selfish, they can be mean and other things, but as Christians we're encouraged to always think the best of people, not the less. So I would just go with those two points actually.
Thank you. So we're just speaking about what causes friendship heartbreaks, and or first talk about giving grace to people, um sometimes we have expectations of people that are unrealistic.
Yes.
Just give them grace,
Mm.
in the course of the friendship and all of that. So
Mm.
I would like to also hear from you, Dami, in your opinion, from your experience, what causes friendship breakups?
I think for me, aside the points where I made about expectations, because to be honest, there are some times where your expectations are, a little too high. You somehow expect your friend to meet all your needs and just make you happy. You get, and I think sometimes it's a bit unrealistic. So aside that, I think also friendships are about people, about givers basically. So if we're going to talk about maybe two people in a friendship,
Mm,
they should be givers. Because
mm,
when I mean givers, I'm not talking in terms of material things. I mean in
mm-hmm.
terms of emotional support, spiritual support, because it's really important.
Yes.
You don't always
Yes.
want to be. Most times, what happens is, I'm giving maybe 100%, and this person is
Mm,
not giving me nothing, and eventually one
yeah,
person gives up. You get,
yeah,
and we've seen it happen
yeah,
a lot of times. Like, oh, I'm trying my best, I'm checking in on you, I'm making all the effort, and you're not doing anything. So I think
Yeah.
it's really important that on both ends they are both kind people, kind to each other.
Yeah.
Put yourself
mm,
in the other person's position,
so
because I've actually
true.
realized that
Word.
a lot
Word.
of people are not kind. There's no lie.
Mm,
A lot of people are not
mm,
kind. What
mm.
what you do to other people, you really don't want other people to do to you.
Exactly.
Yes, I've discovered that. So
Mm,
yeah, it's about people who can give. Sometimes you might be giving a 90% and the other person gives a 10%, which is fine. Some other times you can present 50-50 to the table.
mm-hmm,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm trying to look for an example. There was a time I have a friend who was bereaved, and of course in that period of time, or at that period of time, she couldn't be there for me as much as I would like. I would have liked,
Mm.
rather, because
Yeah.
she was bereaved at the time, and I had to understand that she's going through her emotions, even things she can't even share with me. So it would have been unfair for me to expect that, why aren't you calling me? Don't
Mm.
you know something happened to me, yada yada and all
Mm.
that. So yeah,
Yeah.
being kind to one another is very, very important. So I think that's
totally.
what I'll add.
Kindness. So we're saying that part of the things that cause friendship breakups are being unkind.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
being unkind can
Mm,
actually cause a friendship to break.
mm,
And I think I'll just say that unkindness,
mm,
as it were, can also be translated into taking each other for granted.
mm,
Yes.
you
Absolutely.
know taking it to that, this is my best friend now. So
Mm.
sometimes
mm.
I don't know why it's easier for people to be kind to what my sisters used
Mm.
to call outsiders.
Outside.
True. Absolutely.
You're more kind. So because you feel like this, but she knows I love her. She knows now.
Mm.
She knows.
Yeah.
At least I've done this for her. I've done that for her. I've done this for him. I've done that for him. So
Mm,
and then that puts you in a position where you become more kind to people that
to
are
a
not as
stranger.
close. And
Mm,
those things where you take your friendships for granted. Nobody wants to be taken for granted. To be honest,
yes.
Mm.
um, begins to deteriorate the friendship,
Mm,
and before you know it, it's lost. It just
Mm.
yes.
you're looking
Yes.
for it, and it feels like there was nothing here because there's nothing to even pick up.
Mm.
Mm,
Um, so yeah,
yeah.
friendship breakups are really, really uh terrible.
Yeah.
I
Very
would
true.
say very, really, really terrible because I feel like friendships you invest more in friendships sometimes even more than in romantic relationships because
Yes.
Yes.
even the romantic
Mm.
relationships come to meet you in the friendship, and
Friendships.
the
Mm.
person in question becomes even the topic in the friendship. so
Ah,
Yes.
so
hey.
so
So
like
true.
this is your person, so having
Mm.
to give up that relationship because
Mm,
Mm.
of negligence, because of
Yeah.
unkindness is
mm,
is is really hurtful, and I feel like that's why we're really having this conversation today.
Mm.
mm,
And we've spoken about a lot of things around kindness. So I'll say maybe those are green flags to look for in a friend, right?
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
kindness, respect, yeah, kindness, respect, understanding. I
Mm.
think common sense.
Yes, which is not so common.
Hey.
because because common sense is what will make them say, okay, this person is bereaved. Let
Yeah.
me not demand so much, and let me even be in the position where I'm giving. So what will we say are red flags? What red flags do we want to look out for in friendships to say, okay, this friendship should not go beyond this week? So what are red flags? What are the red flags that we can look out for in friendships?
Yeah. Red flags in friendships.
Yes, we have a lot of red flags.
There
Oh,
are a lot of.
relationship.
There are a lot.
Yeah.
There are a
So
lot of red flags.
so that we
But
know in advance if we're
yeah.
trying to begin to forge friendships, we know in
Mm,
advance no need to invest here because there's no return on
Yes.
investment here.
mm, mm. Okay, so I think I would say a big red flag is when um you and your friend are not on the same page.
Okay.
And I mean that in a more spiritual sense. When the two of you are not on the same page, so you have different tastes, so you have different interests. So definitely there's going to be a limit to which you enrich each other in your friendship.
Mm.
So a big red flag would be when two of you are not on the same page. And I think it's important for me to chip in here because a lot of people in our generation tend to also make this mistake. A red flag would be where you mistakenly label a friendship for what is not.
Mm.
You get like having it's okay to use the word my classmate. It's okay to use the word my
Mm,
best friend.
Yes.
mm,
It's okay to use the
Mm.
word my colleague. Not everybody's your
Mm-hmm.
friend though. So
True.
so
True.
if you think exactly, so if you think, oh, my
Mm.
coworker is my friend, and outside of work hours, you expect that they hang out with you, you expect that they tell you personal stuff.
Mm.
Omo, you are bound to be heartbroken, no. So it will be a big red flag if you read meaning to things and you mislabel things as well, mislabel
Mm.
relationships and friendships. So I think those are the two that I can think of at the moment.
mm. Very, 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 very key. You
Mm.
know, Orofe?
Well, I'd say a red flag is definitely somebody who doesn't love God and who does
Mm,
not
Mm,
regard spiritual growth as something very important. And the reason why that is important for you as a Christian is,
mm-hmm,
so say, you upset your friend, you guys have a fight or something, because we believe, or we want to believe that you both have the Holy Spirit. So on your own end, the Holy Spirit is telling you, go make up with your friend, go do this.
mm,
If you're in a friendship with somebody who does not have a relationship with the Holy Spirit, or doesn't even is not obedient, is not willing, and all of those things, you just
mm,
find yourself in a very funny situation where it feels like, you are the one who is always doing everything, always
mm,
reconciling. And yeah, we should show love, but in a
mm-hmm.
mm,
friendship, you're supposed to, sharpen each other. You're supposed to make
Exactly.
each other
mm,
better. Your love for God
mm.
should encourage your friend to love God more, and vice
Uh-huh,
versa.
Yes,
So I
ma.
uh-huh,
think that's a very big red flag when the person doesn't really, love God and
Mm,
doesn't even want to love God the way you desire and all of that. So
mm,
a second one would also be, I think a red flag is someone that's not also very considerate,
mm,
and someone who is always out to, use people to
mm,
get what they want.
mm,
So yeah, they'll call you their friend very much so, but
mm,
the moment they're not able to get whatever it is that they want to get from you, for them it's just, bye bye. I can find this elsewhere.
yeah,
Something
yeah,
like that. So a friend has to be someone who is ready to stick, like Dami mentioned, her friend was bereaved. Sometimes people act out when they're going through certain things. So a
mm-hmm,
true friend would understand and stick through it.
mm,
And I've also
mm,
found that friendship is also, it's not that you are in a friendship with a perfect person. Friendship
mm-hmm,
is looking beyond, the person's flaws and
mm-hmm,
still choosing to love them irregardless. So
yeah,
you want to
yeah,
also look for somebody who is like that. Somebody who says, look, I know my friend is not perfect, but I love her and I'll stand by her because I believe this is
mm,
also what God will have me do and the person God
yeah.
will have me be with and all of that. So
mm,
that's also another point to consider.
Thank you,
mm,
thank you. Being inconsiderate is a red flag, and not,
Yes.
I'll say spiritual incompatibility.
Yes. That's the
is
summary.
also is also a red flag, because you really have to be headed in the same direction, and you want to
Mm.
have the same father, so that the devil is not the father of your best friend,
Yes.
and God
mm. That
is your
one safe
father.
day.
Word.
So that there can be cohesion, I would say,
Yes.
in the relationship. Now,
Mm.
talking about knowing God, loving God, have you not had friends that were Christians, but the in Nigerian parlance were the ones that actually gave you the premium shaggy?
Mm. Mm.
You
What?
know,
Mm.
like so I know being a Christian is, I'll say, the foundation of
Yes.
any friendship, but
Mm-hmm.
beyond that, character issues, there's,
Yeah.
for instance, just thinking about it, a competitive friend, I don't
Hmm.
think that's a friend.
Mm.
Yes, please.
Mm.
Yes, please.
Someone that is always in competition with you.
Hmm.
And
Mm.
there's really nothing wrong with saying, "Oh wow, I love this your hair. Take me to the salon," of course. But
Mm.
there are friendships that, they could even go sneak, look for the another person to
Hmm.
just make a
Mm.
video.
Yes.
Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
just so
Yes.
sneaky
Yes.
and so
Yes.
creepy.
Mm.
I feel that.
Like, what is really going on here? This is something we could have just done together. Why are you creeping on me? Why are
Hmm.
you,
Mm.
so
Mm.
I think another red flag we could actually look out for is that competitiveness, that,
Yes.
Mm.
like, as if we're fighting for something that is not
Mm-hmm.
lost. We're
Mm-hmm.
both
Mm.
looking for what is not lost. So
Mm.
being inconsiderate, very key. Having the foundation of spiritual compatibility, very key.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like also, and maybe I'll say that sometimes we get really blinded by love, and
True.
we don't
Mm.
even get to see these red
Mm.
flags. So
True.
that's why I will
Wow.
backtrack to what Aurel first said about prayers. Before
Mm.
we even get into this, God, what is the purpose of this relationship?
This friendship.
Yes.
Mm.
Why is it? Because for me personally, I've found out that people that God brought into my life for me to help, as it were, to sometimes to mentor, sometimes to, because maybe we are age mates. I feel like, how can I be a mentor to
Yeah.
this person? But that is why God brought them into my life, to
Hmm.
guide,
Mm.
to show
Mm.
them something that God has shown me, right?
Hmm.
And I mistake that closeness for
For
friendships, and it
friendship.
always backfires.
Mm.
because
Mm.
because friendships are supposed to be mutual, so to speak. It's
Yeah.
Yes.
give and give, I'll say. you know
Yes.
give and give on both ends. But when you, as a person, you have so much to give, and that person cannot match up that energy,
Hmm.
cannot match up
Indeed.
that level of giving,
Mm.
Giving.
it
Hmm.
begins to make you feel like, oh, I'm giving too much. I think
So much.
Dami mentioned that as well.
Mm.
Yes.
It now feels like, oh, I'm giving too much, but this person does not even have the capacity
Capacity.
to
Hmm.
give
Mm.
you what you're
Exactly.
supposed to be given, because the relationship is not supposed to be a friendship. It's probably supposed to be a mentoring relationship.
Hmm.
So that place of just understanding the purpose of a friendship, I think, is
Hmm.
very, very key
Yeah.
for
Mm.
us, so
Mm.
that we don't spoil things. I've had relationships that I regretted making this a friendship
Wow.
Hmm.
because it got spoiled. The
Mm.
whole thing got spoiled because it was not even supposed to be a friendship. And for me,
Mm.
this subject is really interesting because, and I'll also say that it could also evoke a lot of emotions. So while we
Mm.
laugh, it could also resurface hurts that we've
Hmm.
probably buried over
But
the
yeah.
years. So I really
Yeah.
acknowledge that for you, Orelve, and for Dami as well, because I feel some emotions already
Oh.
flying, as it were, just thinking about this subject. Because, like we said, friendship heartbreaks, in my opinion, are worse than
Honestly,
Yes.
romantic
they are.
Yes.
heartbreaks. That's my, like, when I experienced my own friendship heartbreak, I was hurt on many levels. I was like, if it was a
Mm.
romantic relationship that hurt me
Yeah.
like this, I will not
Mm.
feel this bad.
Hmm. To be honest,
Yes.
You
Yes.
get, like,
Yes.
how can, like, the hurt was
too much.
too, like,
Mm.
oh, no, no,
Hmm.
no, it
Mm.
was.
I get you.
And I feel like the craziest thing about friendship heartbreaks is most times you never get the closure you're looking for.
Yeah.
You never get the
Very
closure
true.
you're
Very
looking
Absolutely.
true.
for,
Hmm.
because it's so multifaceted, so complex, so
Yes.
Mm.
multi-layered. So
Mm-hmm.
you know but I believe that today, as we go over these conversations, people are going to get the closures they are looking for, and
Amen.
people are going to even get the courage to seek the closure
Hmm.
they are
Amen.
looking for. So,
Amen.
we're going to talk about resolving conflict within friendships.
Mm.
So,
Okay.
how do you resolve a conflict? So, okay, let's say you have a beautiful relationship. There are green flags all over the relationship, right?
Mm.
But there are issues to resolve. How do you resolve very sensitive issues, for instance, while maintaining the bond? let's say using you, Dami, and Orelfe now as a case in point, right? You guys are, your friendship is going beautifully, your friendship is going well. So, but there is something to resolve. How do you resolve issues in your friendship, and also maintain the bond? I don't know if that question is clear.
Yeah, I get you.
Okay.
So, Dami.
Okay. I'm supposed to go first. Okay. So, in answering this question, right, I probably want to mention something as well. I think there's
Okay.
also a myth that people that have been friends for a very long time must, at some point during the friendship, must have gotten into a fight. It's a fact. Or if you say, "Oh, I've been friends with someone for 10 years," they're like, "Ah, you people have never fought before. You are not friends." You get. So
Yeah.
Oyoko and I have been friends for a while, and we have never had a fight, a serious fight,
Yeah.
because I
I
believe that
like that caveat. Serious.
Yeah.
it's,
I don't even think
it's a
we've had
very
like mini fights, to be honest.
exactly. We've not had.
Just maybe.
I don't think we've had arguments as well. We could have like back and forth, but they're not heated. They are not.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm slamming the door, going my separate way, kind of
No,
thing.
no, no, no.
That type of thing. So, and this generation, I've seen a lot of if there's no toxicity inside the friendship,
Friendship.
I don't think this friendship is cooking well. That type of thing. People must have got into a very bad fight, and I don't think it's true. I really don't think it's true. So I think in resolving conflicts, before you let it get to a point where it's irreconcilable or a lot of damage has been done, I think you really have to communicate. Your communication skills, like Oriofe mentioned, your communication skills must be top notch. And of course, we don't just arrive at having great communication skills. We just practice. It takes practice. You have to try it over and over again. This thing you did, address the issue there and then. This thing you did, I don't like it. You don't have to wait for it to build up. You get.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
is there just some little things that you shouldn't let fly, because
Yeah.
those kind of things that you bottle them up, and eventually when you explode,
Yes.
the impact can be too much. So I think communication, like Orifea said, that's the only thing I have up top of my head right now.
I agree with Dami.
Yeah.
We haven't really had, and to be honest, I think part of what I would chalk it up to would also be because we also constantly communicate. So there's very little room to misread something, because we've been talking about something since like 2 months ago, and then something happens because we've been having constant communication. I can trace it and say, okay, maybe this is what's happening. This is what's happening. So we haven't
Communication.
really. But from my other friendships, what I would draw out would, like Dami said, be communication, and not just also communication as well. You have to also be willing to listen to your friends, what your friend is saying, and be willing to work on it or act on it, and not take it personally. Because I have a friend, we're also very close, and she is more, very detailed. She likes to talk about the little things that bother her, and sometimes I'm just like, this thing is not an issue. Like, this should not. This I don't find this to be an issue, but to her, it's something that's an issue. So, I've learned to just calm down and say, okay, fine. I don't get why it's an issue to you, but if it's an issue to you, then I will listen, and I will try to do whatever I can to maybe make
To
it
make it
better, work
better.
on it. So I
That
think
makes
that's how to
sense.
resolve conflicts in close friendships like that.
I
Can I
feel
add
like,
something?
yes, please.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
please,
So,
Dami.
so I just remembered to add to what Oriofe has said. I think also we should understand that your friendship with one person is the techniques you use for one person. It's not a
Yeah.
one size fits all.
Exactly.
It's not a
Exactly.
formula for all your friends. So, cause okay, Oriofe is calm and Oriofe would listen. I now take that to mean all my friends must listen the same exact way.
Yes.
All my friends must. So
Mm.
you have to understand the dynamics of each of your relationships, each of your
Yes.
friendships, and work your way through that. And also, I've discovered that even with conflict resolution in friendships, there are times where it has happened to me before. There are times where you are coming defensive, so
Yeah.
you listen to argue. You're not listening to actually get to the
Yes.
root of the
True.
problem, and that's another big problem. It's an issue that we have to discuss, because there are some times where, oh, okay, I've said that I'm going to settle with this person, and when you come back from the conversation, it has even worsened, because you're like,
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
didn't expect it to blow up like
Yeah.
this. So listening calmly, because there's an end, and there's something we want to achieve. There's
Chief.
an end
Yeah.
in sight, so we want to resolve this problem. We're not here to argue with each other. I mean, the law. You want to have your way and you want to argue, right? So yeah.
Wise words.
Yeah.
Thank my
Yeah.
boss.
It's so true. It's so true. And excuse me. from what Oriol and Dami have said, communication. I think that word has reoccurred 1,000 times,
Mm-hmm.
Mm, mm,
and that just goes to tell the importance and the value of
mm,
communication in relationships. You know,
mm,
my big sister has a PhD in theater art, and each time we have issues with communication, she quotes a quote that is very funny, and she says, "Man must not communicate." You
Absolutely.
know, and it's very true, because
mm,
communication is the fuel with which we drive everything worthwhile. Even so even within ourselves, what keeps us sane is the communications we have
Mm.
within our own selves. How much more
Yes.
people whose hearts you cannot see. The only
mm,
way you can know what is
mm,
actually going on inside is when they open their mouth to actually
Talk about.
say something. So we spoke about communication. Another thing I could pick from what Dami said is individuality. You know, just getting to see people for who they are and not comparing this person with this person, but
Mm-hmm.
knowing that this person is totally different. She was saying something
Yeah.
about Orofe being calm. And
mm,
so Orofe may be calm, but the other person may not be. You know, so
Yeah.
just knowing how to balance it. And then Dami also said something that led to another thought in my heart, speaking about the value of the relationship. Because if we are trying to resolve a conflict and it gets worse than how it was before, I think there's
Mm-hmm.
actually a value problem.
Yeah.
mm.
Maybe one of us does not value the relationship as much as the other
The
person
other
does.
person.
Because
Yes.
if we really value it, then it will be easier to come to a common ground and a
Sure.
consensus, because we both want this matter to be resolved so that
Yeah.
things can go back to the status quo, you know. So that's really, really interesting. So I just want to know, given this, I think Orofe had said a lot of things about um the other friend, Dami, the other friend. Personally, I'm an exclusive person. Oh. If you are my friend, you are my friend. Oh. I don't know. I don't want to be hearing unnecessary closeness with everybody. Do you get what I
I
mean?
feel you.
so,
I feel you.
so how do you people navigate this, you know, maintaining your BFF status and having other friends? How do you guys navigate that? Because I think it's something that causes conflict in friendship. Like, oh,
Yes.
why
Mm,
you're supposed to be here? Why are you,
my
you know, all
friend,
those kind of
yeah.
jealousy? It's real, you know. So how do you know, sometimes, so me and one of my closest friends, sometimes she'll be like, I'm going to break the leg of that girl that is all over you. Shout out to Ama.
Oh.
You know, I'm going to break her leg. What is she doing around here? I don't know. I'll just laugh over it. That also, how do you really navigate, you know, being I don't want to say exclusive, so that it's not like you are married.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get you.
exactly.
but but how do you just keep that bond? Because I feel like in our hearts there are levels to
Mm.
relationships. So
Mm,
Mm.
if okay, or your friend that you guys are on level one of each other's life, how do you keep that level one and still maintain level 10, level 3, level 2 friendships, and it doesn't affect that level one friendship?
Mm.
mm,
Or fair.
Well, I think maybe what helped us, because to be honest, I don't think we were very intentional. Like, oh, I don't want you to feel this way. I think what happened for us is, I think at the start of our friendship, there wasn't a lot of pressure. It wasn't like we found each other and we're like, you must be my best friend by force,
Mm,
like, okay, do or die thing. I think it was just something that happened very naturally.
mm-hmm,
And we kind of understood at the same time that, oh, this person that I met has other friends,
mm-hmm,
right? And I think, let me speak from my perspective. I'd say that, when I met Dami, I could tell that, oh, this is somebody who likes to have her friends around. One of the things Dami does a lot is hosting. She likes to host her friends. So I could just tell that I'm not the only person in this person's life, and that's fine, because she
mm,
does it so well that you do not feel threatened by the
mm,
other friends. Like, she's able to individually handle each friendship so well that it's
mm,
until she tells you, oh, this person is around, you'll be like, oh, I've even forgotten that this person existed or something. But she has that natural talent of just handling it well. So, and I think also because we also constantly communicate as well,
mm,
I'm just aware of all the other things that's going. For me, it's just okay. This is her life. She still has other things going on. So
mm,
just keep me informed. Keep me in the loop.
mm,
I'll be praying. I'll be doing whatever you need me to do. So
mm,
I think that's it. I would say the foundation of our friendship, it happened very naturally, very much. I'd say even God, probably God inspired, to be honest. So yeah, maybe Dami can put small
Yes, please, Dami.
thought into it.
I think I would have to. I would actually agree with you because, I even when we're in uni, between the two of us, I know more people because she's
Yes,
also always
actually,
something you're always when you work with me, you're get ready to greet the world.
actually,
So I know a lot of people, but I have very few friends.
difference,
So
true.
I already knew that okay, these few friends I have, I'm actually going to be really intentional with them. I'm actually going to treat everybody individually, like Oriofe mentioned, not to rub it in any other person's face. Because Oriofe also has some other friends that are not my own friends as well. So just to acknowledge that oh, this person has their own life going for them. When Oriofe and I met, we're in different like circles, sort of like
Yes.
different
Yeah.
communities. Just so you know, Oriofe is the more serious one. Oriofe is the one that has the study routine. When we're in 100 level, she had the study routine. She used to go to bed at a certain time, wake up at a certain time. When Oriofe is going to bed, me, I'm probably just strolling in from one hangout or the other. So yeah, we had like different communities, and
Yeah.
you're bound to meet different people in those communities and maintain a
Yeah.
level of solidarity would eventually sometimes develop into a strong friendship. So I think what has helped both of us is just knowing that we have our own lives. The
Yeah.
two of us have our lives that we're living, and so let's just continue that way. There's no it wasn't a very serious you must be my best friend or else
Yeah.
something bad will happen. That
Yeah.
type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think there's some nuggets to pick from what you and Orofe have said. The way the friendship evolved, I think it
Yeah.
took its time,
Mm-hmm.
and evolved into this beautiful thing you guys share. And also, I think Orofe said something about Dami behaving in such a way that she doesn't feel threatened. I think that is really important
Yes.
because I don't know how it works for you guys, but I feel like jealousy is in the heart of everybody because we are like God. God Himself is a jealous God.
Mm-hmm.
So just I feel like just securing or making that person feel secure
Mm-hmm.
that this is your place in my life
Mm-hmm.
and nothing
Yes.
will touch it. Nobody will touch it. So I feel like that gives room for liberty.
Yeah.
Just that's why in foundations of Christianity it was all about assurance of salvation.
Mm.
Just that assurance that I'm saved.
Mm.
Whatever happens, I'm assured of my salvation. So just being
Absolutely.
assured of your place, I feel that it gives a level of security and a level
Yes.
of freedom.
Mm.
To know that okay, this is my place. It doesn't matter what she does with other people. It doesn't matter how many people. I know that this is where I. So just making it clear with action and with words that this is who you are to me will also go a long way to strengthen your relationship. And I think it also leads me to the next thought in my heart about nurturing and strengthening your friendships. How do you guys deliberately nurture and strengthen your friendships? You've said a lot of things about communication. That word, I've picked it a lot from what you've said, and I know it's going to be number one on the top of the radar. How have you guys been able to nurture and strengthen your friendships? And just to say that, in spite of your friendship heartbreaks and friendship issues, what were the thoughts that made you think, okay, I can give this friendship thing a try again? So I think that would be a two-in-one question. What thought informed your decision to say, I can give this friendship thing a try again? And how have you been able to nurture and strengthen your friendships over the years? Oriofe.
Okay, so what thought informed me deciding to give friendship a shot again?
Yes.
Um, well, I think, to be honest, I don't think I'm in a place where I'm giving friendships a lot of shots. To be honest, right now I'm very, very protective of the current friendships I have. And
Mm.
anybody that's trying to be
So I'm
my friend
saying,
right
how did
now,
you get to the place of getting these current friendships? Do you get what I mean?
yeah, like nurturing them.
No, I'm saying you have had experience with a friendship heartbreak.
Yeah.
How did you say, okay, in spite of this heartbreak, let me give this friendship, that the friendship you have with Dami, for instance, let
Okay.
me give this friendship a
We
try,
try
regardless of the break,
what
the
happened.
heartbreak
Yeah.
I've endured.
Mm. Yeah. So I think the friendship breakup that I had a couple of years back, Dami and I were actually already friends at that
Okay.
point in time.
Mm.
We had
Okay.
actually known each other. We used to hang out and all of that. So I think at that point, yeah, I would say that I really much kept to myself. I mean, I remember I was maybe post COVID. I remember I just wanted to be alone. I didn't want to see anybody, anything. And one of the
Mm.
things I remember, this is me giving a shout out to Dami now, in case I don't want to forget, because she has really been a very cute and really nice
Hey,
friend to me. I
hey,
remember
okay,
one, I can't remember which Valentine's Day it was, but I remember Dami just randomly calling me. I was like, "Oh, where are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm in my room." And she comes and she hands me a cupcake. And she was like, "Oh, she just wanted to give me for Valentine." And that was and anyone who knows me knows that I really, really like cakes. Like I really like chocolate cakes in particular. So she just brought it. So that's just to say, that's just to give an example of, for me, one thing that really struck me with Dami was I could, at that point in my life, I think I was really actively looking for what felt like loyalty to me.
Mm.
Because, like you mentioned, having an assurance that, oh, this person is your friend and not,
Yeah.
because of some of the heartbreaks that I'd had earlier, I think that was something that for me was a recurrent feeling that I needed to feel in each friendship afterwards.
Mm.
So I think at that
Mm.
point in time, with Dami, she just unintentionally, actually, probably even intentionally, she kept on with her actions, maybe even her words, just kind of in a way assuring me that, oh, this is a safe space. It wasn't verbally
Mm.
communicated, but I just knew that, oh, if I call Dami and I'm like, Dami, this just happened right now, she would probably scream and be like, who is that? That is the kind of friend that can want to beat somebody up for you. So, and there's nobody who has, gone through a friendship heartbreak or is sad that would see that and not want
Mm.
that as well. So
Mm.
I think that was pretty much what drew me in more to
Mm.
Dami and made me
Mhm.
realize that, okay, the fact that, you had a friendship breakup doesn't mean you still can't have, other friends. So in a way, it also even inspires me daily to try to be even a better friend to her, because
Yeah.
friendship for me, I was telling her once that for me, I'm not really big on all the small, small things, all the I love yous here and all of that. For me, it's really about, can you meet me when I'm having an issue? Like, can you be there for me when I
Mm.
need you to be there for me? I don't
Mm.
really care about the day to day, but can you be there? And if you can, for me, it's just say, you know what, let's do this. And
Mm.
consistently for me, Dami did that. So when we became much closer, for me, it also became kind of like what I use as a mantra for myself in nurturing our friendship, to be there for her whenever she needs something. Okay, how are you feeling? What do you think we should do? Should we go out? Should we do this? What do you think? So like that's just what for me keeps or helps me to kind of, or that I use rather, to nurture our relationship.
Mm.
Basically, I hope that makes sense.
It
It's a
makes a
long
lot of
phrase.
sense. It makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. Just being there, being
Mm.
there, being loyal.
Yeah.
I think I picked that loyalty, and it's such an issue
It
when it comes
is.
to friendships.
Yeah.
Loyalty. Knowing that this person has my back. This
Exactly.
person
That's it.
can even look beyond me to me, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's it. That's it. She has my back. That's the
Yeah, she
literal
has my back.
statement.
She has my back. So Dami, the question is in your boat.
hey. That's
Ask.
that's that's how to follow you people now. And
It's
just
a
did you
lie.
tell us that I was
She
going to be
has
making
things
people
to
cry on
say.
the podcast? Did you tell us that I need to be doing, shout outs and making people cry?
I didn't tell
Okay.
you now, because I know if I tell you now, you say I should not say it.
Hey. So funny enough, do you? I literally have a very very blurry um
Memory.
try to remember.
Is it?
So like I did it very unintentionally. But one thing I'd always know
Yeah.
was, even in uni, I remember when I got to year two, I was always praying that, it's very funny. I just used to pray a funny prayer that I wanted to be a safe space for my friends. To be honest, like I intentionally prayed that I just want to be a safe space for my friends. I want to be someone that then you could call me and we could talk about it,
Yeah.
walk you through that. I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not going to play, of course, God in someone's life, but at least,
Mm.
even if there will be that one person that would turn you back to God, and
Mm.
take you back to that path. I just always want to be that kind of person. So I
Mm.
think God answered my prayer. But
Yeah.
in answering, so in answering the question, I think what has helped me nurture my friendship with Oriofe, and I'm also going to say that it has helped me with other friendships as well, is, aside communication, I would say speaking your friend's love language, because that is
Mm.
very important. When
Mm.
we hear love languages, we always just, assume that, oh, love language is for you, you know, your romantic partner, or is in a more romantic sense. But I really believe that, you know, love languages should be learned in friendships, platonic friends.
Yeah.
Know, is about knowing this person, know what the person likes, know what the person doesn't like, know what makes the person feel heard. For some friends, like Orife is a hard guy. Orife is a hard guy. So all this, I love you,
Amy.
I something you. Don't let her deceive you guys. She's a hard guy. So I know that with Orife, there's there's a limit to which I can get through to her with words.
Actually.
Some of my other friends, now words is words that, you know, I can use to break the ice. But Orife is more of an act of service person. So when you do stuff for her, yeah. So when you do stuff for her, like I said, when you reassure her, you get
Yeah.
you know, you've passed across a message to her, sort of. And for some other people, it might be gifts. For some other people, it might be quality time. There's some of my friends that, you know, I've had to sit with them through stuff, and that's like quality time. That's their own way
Yeah.
of, you
Yeah.
know, feeling heard and feeling appreciated. So I think it's important that, you know, we all actually learn, you know, the 5 love languages. I think is
Yeah.
Gary Chapman that
Yeah.
wrote the 5 love languages. So yeah, I think it's a really important to read that everybody should, you know. And for some reason, I also believe that friendships are like a way of preparing you for marriage. Of course, I have not been married. I have not been married though. Please though. I don't have any husband somewhere. I'm not married to somebody. Nobody's married to me. But
Disclaimer.
disclaimer. But I know for a fact that once you are
Mm.
a good friend, once you are loyal, once once someone is you know, sure that you have their back, once you communicate properly and communicate in a language that they hear, not just the one that
Yeah.
you say,
Yes.
Yeah.
and
Totally.
you're considerate, put yourself in the person's shoes. Sometimes like, oh, this person, if someone does this to me, will I like it? Those simple things, I really really believe they build up, you know, to making you a very very
Much. Thank you so much. I hope this episode has been a huge blessing to you. I hope you've really learned a lot from this episode. Thank you so much, Dami and Orelfe, for giving us your precious time, just sharing your insights and your experiences with us. We are truly, truly grateful. And thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Please follow our social media handles at The God What's In on TikTok, at The God What's In on Instagram. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you've been blessed. Send in your questions, send in your thoughts, send in your comment.